Am I the a-hole for refusing to change my relationship with my stepbrother and not giving him access to my house or gaming setup? My parents divorced when I, 20 male, was 7. My mom remarried when I was 10, and her husband's son, my stepbrother, was 8. He and I got along badly from the start. He didn't like that I could do stuff he couldn't, like walk to the store on my own because it was right down the block from mom's house, or that I was allowed to go to friends' houses after school when I was with my dad. He was jealous about the gaming setup I had at dad's house too, but that was mom's fault he even knew about it. She tried to force my dad to invite him over sometimes so he could play with me and she and her husband could have a date night. We fought a lot, and in the run-up to the wedding, we argued about being called brothers and having to stand next to each other during the wedding. They tried to force us into poses for pre-wedding photos, and we refused. He even bit me during the shoot, and after that, I refused to take more photos with him. Our relationship got worse, and he would annoy me by complaining about stuff, so I rubbed in all the things I had that he didn't, or could do that he couldn't. My mom begged me at the time to please treat him like a little brother and just try to be nicer and let stuff go. She said it was important because we'd always be family, even if we hated it. He tried to befriend me once when we were like 13 and 11, and he wanted access to the good stuff, but I didn't buy it. He let it slip himself because he mentioned being invited to my dad's house like 10 times while playing nice. My dad died when I was 16, and my stepbrother mocked me, saying he'd get to play that stuff now because, of course, dad's stuff would be going to mom and his dad's house. Only my grandparents kept it at dad's house and watched over the house until I turned 18 and could move in. And that's exactly what I did. My dad left everything to me, including his house, and we didn't sell it so I could live in it once I graduated, which I now do. My mom wanted me to let my stepbrother move in so he could have some independence while going to the college he got into nearby. I said no, and I told mom she would not change my mind and she could not pay me to live with him again. She complained that I was doing nothing to improve the relationship, and I replied that I don't need to. That I will never want to improve my relationship with him because, to me, he's not family or a friend. Then he reached out and told me he was sorry for being a jerk in the past and wanted to know if he could come over and play games sometime. He said he saw my collection online and was jealous of all the stuff I have and would love the chance to play games he never could before or hasn't played in years. He offered to bring snacks. I said no. My mom found out he had reached out and asked me, and she told me she was ashamed of me for rejecting him so finally like that. She said it would be no big deal to let him play some dumb games. She said after all the gloating I did about that stuff in my teens, the least I could do is try to work on things now and share with him. I told her no, and I would not discuss it more. She said I'm older than he is and that I'm pretending I'm so mature, while really I'm acting like a kid still and refusing to accept apologies and work on repairing relationships. She said it was not how any adult should behave. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Stand your ground. He doesn't want a relationship with you. He wants access to your property. I know your mom cares about him, but she didn't care enough to stop his behavior when you were younger. She didn't care to stop him when he mocked your father's death. At any time, his own father could have bought him video games, but didn't. He is not your problem, not your circus, not your monkeys. If your mother doesn't like it, that sounds like a her problem, not yours. Yep, my mom might not want to see it, but if he wanted a relationship for real, he'd reach out and want to meet up somewhere, or he'd make an effort the next time he actually saw me, instead of trying to get an invite to my stuff. Not the a-hole. Sorry, but your mom is delusional if she expects you to invite your stepbrother into your house. He was a little turd when you lived in the same house, and I doubt he has changed. He said he saw my collection online and was jealous of all the stuff I have, and would love the chance to play games he never could before. He could either try and steal your stuff or damage it so that you couldn't use it. You are not obligated to have any kind of relationship with him. Period. I had a similar thought, or he'd turn on me the second I wanted him to leave. The options are endless. Plus, you don't get over 10 years of hating each other like nothing. Very true. He is trying to leverage being your stepbrother or family, with your mom, to get access to your stuff. Not because he has had a change of heart. The good thing is that you are an adult and don't have to do anything that you don't want to. You already have the upper hand by simply having your own place and possessions. I'll bet that he is just dying of envy. I'm sure he is. Knowing how jealous he has always been of the collection of games and consoles, it wouldn't surprise me if that was still true. And I have my own house where I can keep them away from him. Next story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to give my ex full access to my life just because we co-parent? I, 25 female, have a 6-month-old baby with my ex, 24 male, and we've been trying to co-parent since we split a few months ago. But now he's saying I'm being an a-hole for not telling him everything I do, even when the baby isn't with me. We were together from high school, 2015, up until recently. Our breakup happened shortly after I gave birth, when I found out he had been cheating with multiple women. His excuse? That I wasn't being sexual enough postpartum, and he had a high libido. Yeah, that was enough for me to walk away. Since then, I've been rebuilding my life. I got more involved in my church, formed new friendships, and started feeling like myself again for the first time in a while. I've also done everything I can to keep things calm and respectful for the sake of our baby. But now he's making it an issue that I don't share details about my personal life with him. He says I should be more transparent and that it's important for co-parenting. He wants to know who I'm hanging out with, what I'm doing, who my new friends are, even if I'm just out while he has the baby. His reasoning? He tells me about what he's doing, so I should do the same. But here's the thing. I've never asked him for any of that information. He voluntarily tells me, hey, I'm about to hang out with this girl, or I've been seeing someone new, even when our child is not in his care. It's his personal time, and I've told him I don't need or want those updates. Yet now he's acting like, because he shares that info with me, I owe him the same level of openness, even though I've never requested it, and it's unrelated to our child. He's also been following some of my new friends on social media and asking me questions about them. My account is private, so I don't know how he's even finding them. I suspect he's using a burner account or viewing my church's page, which posts pictures of me and the people I hang out with. I had to ask them to stop posting me. We have a photography team that takes pictures during or after a service and posts them online for media purposes, because I believe he was using those posts to find my friends and follow them. He's never reached out to any of them, but the whole thing feels really creepy and invasive. It's crossing a boundary for me. I've talked to some friends about this, and their opinions are mixed. Some say he has a point, that we should be transparent with each other since we share a child. Others think he's overstepping, and that this isn't part of normal co-parenting, especially since our child hasn't met any of these people and I'm not dating anyone right now. Even my mom is siding with him. She's liked him since we were together in high school, and anytime we argued, she tended to take his side and ask what I did wrong. Now she's saying I should be open about who I'm hanging out with to better co-parent. That makes me question myself even more. I'm not trying to be an a-hole or difficult. I believe in healthy boundaries. If someone's going to be around my child, I'll share that. But just living my life and seeing friends when my baby isn't with me, I don't think I owe him a play-by-play. So now I'm wondering, am I the a-hole for keeping parts of my life private from my child's father when it doesn't involve our child? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. He's just trying to control you. He doesn't get to do that anymore. Yeah, this is controlling, and he's gaslighting OP to think it's normal. OP, if you're not already, start using one of those apps designed specifically for co-parenting communication. The fact that he's so comfortable trying to control you is concerning, so make sure all communication is documented. Take him back to court for harassment if he doesn't stop. Also, I wouldn't listen to what your mom or friends are saying. He's prying into your life and it's making you uncomfortable. That's all that matters. Heck, it sounds like he might literally be stalking you. You can't block him, so use an app that can be monitored and continue telling him you don't want his details and you won't be sharing yours. I'm sorry you're going through this. Not the a-hole. Question: do you have a court-approved parenting plan? If not, get one, ASAP, and request to use the parenting app for communications. Anything not child-related, ignore, period. Your life is not his business, especially when it does not pertain to your child. I've been considering a court-approved parenting plan just to have clear boundaries and a set visitation schedule, but I'm super new to all that, so I'm not sure how it works or what I can even ask for. Definitely feels like it might be time to figure that out though. Next story. Am I the a-hole for reminding my husband's father and stepmother that legally my husband isn't their son anymore? My husband lost his mom when he was 4.5 years old. She was hit by a drunk driver and died instantly. At the time of her death, she was pregnant, and my husband's sibling died too. His dad remarried when he was 6, and a year later, my husband was legally adopted by his stepmother. This wasn't something they discussed with my husband or asked for his feelings on. It was just something they did, and it had the full support of the adult members of his dad's family, who felt that all children needed a mother, and that he should be raised by her if something were to happen to his dad. There was bad blood between his mom and dad's family, even before the two married. He never knew why, and still doesn't. His mom's family has no idea, and neither do cousins on his dad's side. The adoption is something my husband always resented, and he never bonded with his stepmother. He never called her mom or sought out her comfort or love. He never loved her back either. As a kid, he was a runaway a couple of times, and when he was on the cusp of turning 17, he left and moved in with a maternal uncle for a few months before moving to his grandparents' house. Once he was with them, he asked to be adopted back by them, which they agreed to. His father and stepmother swore they were done with him after this, but they always expected him to come crawling back, begging for them to forgive him and love him. But he never has. He's had very minimal contact with them, and only because he's close to a few cousins on that side. They weren't invited to our wedding and were never notified when we started having kids. Our kids don't even know who they are, even though they have seen them at a distance twice. We recently attended a birthday party for 2 of his cousins' children, and his father and stepmother approached me and tried to get me on their side to make my husband talk to them, but I shut them down. Then they told me I was denying them a relationship with their grandchildren, and that my husband is their son, and I should be encouraging the relationship between everybody. I reminded them that, legally, he isn't their son anymore, and I told my husband they wouldn't leave me alone. We tried harder to keep our distance because they were mad, but the two would not stop approaching me or us with their anger at my choice of words. So we told his cousin who was hosting that we were leaving, and then the cousin kicked them out too. It started a fight between the cousins on my husband's side and the rest of the family, and I was blamed. One of my husband's paternal aunts used a second Facebook account that she uses for her MLM crap, and she told him that I had no right to be so rude to my father-in-law and mother-in-law, and that it was insulting to rub his patty choice in their face. My husband blocked her second account and went back to it, but even the cousins are getting grief over what I said. So, am I the a-hole for saying what I did to them? Not the a-hole. You're standing up for your husband's feelings and decisions, which is what a good spouse should do. Their legal ties don't change the emotional reality. I try. I always want to have his back like he has mine. Not the a-hole. Incredibly presumptuous of them to think you would side against your actual husband in solidarity with people you have no real relationship with. It was the first time I ever actually talked to them, so no relationship between us at all. This made their attempt even more outrageous to me. Oh man, you just gave me flashbacks to my bridal shower, when my husband's grandmother came up to me to lecture me about inviting her ex-husband. I had only met her a few times and had never had a real conversation with her and had never met the ex-husband. I have no idea why she thought I had any say over the matter, or why she wouldn't let it drop when I informed her such and told her to talk to her grandson. You're obviously not the a-hole. Good on you for having your husband's back. Just from that interaction, I can see why he might have wanted to be adopted by different people. Sheesh. I'm so sorry she did that during your bridal shower. It is a good example of why my husband feels as he does. He has so many others, but that alone was not a good first conversation impression. Last story. Am I the a-hole for pursuing medicine even though my wife is pregnant? I am 24 years old and my wife is 25. She is pregnant and due later this year. I start med school next year. Everything is already set, and I have been admitted to school. However, some of my wife's family has openly stated that it's selfish to go to med school because I have a kid on the way and they need my time. I decided to become a doctor before my wife was pregnant, and I postponed starting so I can be here with her throughout the whole pregnancy. I am a veteran, and the GI Bill will help a lot. Plus, I also receive VA disability. With my income alone, we will be fine. And I will try my best to be home and with my kid as much as I can. I am not going to med school because I want to be away, but because I am working towards our future and my career. They keep telling me that school is too long, and that it's not a good choice. My wife has been supportive. I care more about my wife's input than her family, but I am just trying to see if I am being selfish from someone else's perspective. So, am I the a-hole for still choosing to go to med school? Not the a-hole. My fiancé is currently in school and about to be a dad. I support him 100%. In this economy, you need the best job you can get, especially to support a child. Exactly. Pursuing a stable long-term career, especially one as important as medicine, is a responsible move, not a selfish one. Investing in a strong future benefits the whole family, especially with a child on the way. Seriously, who in their right minds would deny their partner and kid becoming a doctor? The financial stability in the future is well worth the stress now. I say that as someone currently in school for a master's level medical degree. My husband is stoked for us to have stable income in a few years when I'm done. Being a dad and a med student, that's multitasking on expert mode. You're basically training to save lives while preparing for diaper duty. If that's not dedication, I don't know what is. I had 3 new dads in my med school class, and at least 6 new moms. One of the moms was first in our class, and in AOA, Med School Honor Society. It can absolutely be done. And if it becomes too burdensome, you can request to lessen your class load your first year and extend school to 5 years instead of 4. People do it all the time.